It's fair to say that I spent years learning photography the hard way, and at the time I just didn't even realise it. So looking back, if I could start photography all over again, I'd do almost everything differently. So for some context, I've been making a living with my camera for nearly 2 decades now, but when I first started it all felt really confusing, quite overwhelming, and honestly a little bit frustrating as well. And I definitely wasted a lot of time and money focusing on the wrong things. So today I just want to show you what I would do if I was starting out from scratch this year, and why it could save you a ton of time, effort and unnecessary frustration. By the way, I'm on a coastal walk today with the hope of capturing some landscape photos this evening. So yeah, fingers crossed the light softens a little bit this evening, because it's incredibly harsh right now. But when I first started photography, I didn't really have a clear focus or a path. I just kind of dabbled in a bit of everything. I found myself experimenting with landscapes, still life, street photography, portraits, yeah, basically everything. And honestly, that kind of led to a lot of wasted money. I think in the first 18 months or so, I went through several different cameras, and even on the 3rd attempt, I still didn't feel like I quite found the right fit. And mostly that came down to the fact that I hadn't really figured out what I actually enjoyed photographing. I was just flitting from one thing to the next, kind of searching with no kind of idea. Looking back, if I'd have taken a bit more time to think before diving straight in, I could have saved myself a lot of frustration. So if I could start over, I'd spend more time researching. I'd study other photographers' work online. I'd buy photo books and look through those. I'd really try to figure out what it was that I wanted to shoot. Of course, you know, experimenting is a brilliant way to learn, isn't it? But simplifying things at the start can save you a lot of wasted effort in the long run. In those first 18 months, I tried almost every genre of photography. And while I learned a lot, it just left me feeling a bit frustrated and confused, and I didn't really know which way to turn. So if I could rewind, I'd pick a few key areas that I wanted to focus on and dedicate my energy to learning the skills that would help me improve in those areas. You know, I generally think workshops are probably one of the best ways to learn. There's nothing quite like learning from somebody that actually knows what they're talking about in a specific field. It really does help to steer you in the right direction. I attended several workshops a bit further along, and they really helped me. I think I learned more in those couple of workshops than I did probably in the whole first year of photography. So yeah, so they definitely can give you a massive boost in your photography. Well, the light might be too harsh for photography right now. It is a glorious day to be out. It really is. Beautiful blue sky. Yeah, some warmth in the sun at last. Makes you feel glad to be alive. Another thing I've realised is that where you live really shapes the kind of photography that you can focus on. So for me, pretty early that I decided that I wanted to dive into landscape photography. That really kind of what I was interested in. But the problem was, at the time I was living right in the middle of the country, surrounded by big towns and cities, with very few opportunities to shoot landscapes at all, aside from a few local woodlands. So most of my landscape work could only happen when I travelled, which made it hard to stay consistent. So going back, I would probably have chosen something a little bit different, maybe something like street photography instead, because you know, that was right on my doorstep. You know, I could have gone out pretty much every single day, learnt consistently and improved much faster. So yeah, I think with outdoor photography in particular, it's often the light, the conditions or the location that makes an image. And if you can revisit a location multiple times when the conditions are right, you're far more likely to come away with unique images, I think. So my advice would be this: to choose a genre of photography that's easy to access. The fewer barriers there are, the quicker you can learn and practice and improve. Speaking of light, I have a free guidebook that might be of interest to you. It's a 30-page PDF which you can download instantly, where I talk about taking great photos in different light and how best to approach it. Alongside that, I put out a free weekly newsletter as well, packed with behind the scenes content and photography tips as well. The link for that is on the screen and also down in the description below. Yeah, please do go and check it out. I'm sure you'll find some value in that and find it helpful. Well, what a beautiful day. There's a very interesting structure just there that I'm going to go and check out because it's just in the middle of nowhere on its own, and I'm really quite intrigued to see what it is. So I think this is definitely an old chimney of some kind, maybe a tin mine or something like that. There's some old foundations here and some excavations up on the hill there. But anyway, yeah, next I want to talk about camera gear. So yeah, you might have heard people say gear doesn't matter, and while that might be true in some cases, from my experience at least, I can tell you that I think gear really does matter. And that is mainly because it costs a heck of a lot of money. And the more purchasing mistakes that you make, the more it's going to hurt your bank balance long term. That said, my first piece of advice is actually to practice with what you already have. You know, learn to appreciate things like light and composition and timing with whatever camera that you already own. And you can do all of that, to be honest, with your smartphone. And honestly, that's where most of the learning happens. So pick a genre of photography that really interests you, study it, look at photo books, follow other photographers whose work inspires you, and then go out and practice the things that resonate with you using the tools that you already own. Even if it's just for 6 months, you know, practice consistently. If you're using a phone, you know, there's apps out there that give you more control over settings, letting you experiment with different creative techniques, like that you can with a DSLR or mirrorless camera. I think the goal here is to get confident to a point where you're really sure that this is the kind of photography that you want to pursue. I think once that's locked in, it's time to then think about buying gear. And my advice here is that lenses matter more than camera bodies. For most people, a standard zoom lens, which ranges between 24 and 70 millimeters on a full frame camera, is a fantastic starting point. You know, it's wide enough for landscapes or street photography, but long enough at the other end to give you some compression and separation when you want it for things like portraits, abstracts, or detailed images. Now, you don't need to go crazy with a bunch of lenses to begin with. Just choose something that matches the genre of photography that you want to shoot. In terms of a camera body, I'd honestly look at the second-hand market if I was starting from scratch. You know, buying a used body can save you a ton of money. And if you buy from a reputable company, you'll often get a warranty and a condition rating as well, so you know exactly what you're getting. Now, most camera bodies from the last decade will give you great results if paired with a nice lens. And I think, you know, lenses are probably the key thing. You know, they'll often make the biggest difference in the image quality. If you don't need a super shallow depth of field, an f4 or variable aperture zoom like this one here is perfectly fine, and it will save you money and weight in your pack. And I would say as well, don't worry too much about getting a high resolution camera. These are only really useful if you intend to print massive gallery size prints, crop heavily, or want to sell your work commercially. High-res cameras require a fast computer to edit on and storage to store your photos on as well. For context, a 4K monitor is approximately 8.3 megapixels. So even a 16 megapixel camera will allow you to zoom in quite a bit and crop if you need to. If I was to make a suggestion, I would say somewhere between 16 and 30 megapixels is ideal. I genuinely think if you go above 30 megapixels when you're just starting out, you may find it gives you more problems than it actually solves. So, practice first, experiment, find your path, then buy gear that truly supports the photography that you want to do. It'll save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of frustration. Believe me, I found this out the hard way. Okay, so the next point I want to talk about really is about growing into your photography over a period of time. So let's say at this point, you've already figured out the kind of photography that you enjoy. You've spent time practicing it with the gear that you already had. You've picked up a camera, and maybe say a standard zoom or a couple of lenses, and you've been out shooting for a while. You know, you're really getting stuck into it. You're getting out there and taking landscapes or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're enjoying it, and you're starting to get ideas, little creative thoughts, maybe even small side projects you'd like to try. And this is where something really important comes in, which is curiosity. I honestly can't recommend enough how valuable it is to let your curiosity lead the way. Having that curiosity-driven mindset is one of the best ways to grow as a photographer. It keeps things fresh, you know, it keeps things interesting, and it naturally pushes you to try new things. For example, Even though I mainly shoot landscapes, a few years ago I found myself getting quite interested in macro photography. Now, instead of going straight out and buying an expensive dedicated macro lens, I picked up a really simple accessory which is called a macro tube. It cost me about £25 and lets me focus closer to fill the frame with smaller subjects. It's a really easy, low-cost way to just test the waters and to see if it was something that I would actually enjoy. And that's the key idea here. You don't always need to go all in straight away. Just kind of let yourself explore those little side paths, but do it in a way that doesn't cost a fortune or take up too much of your time. I guess test the waters at a steady pace and see if it's something that you want to run with long term. Filters are another really good example of this. Let's say you want to try long exposure photography, for example, maybe in the landscape or in the city. So instead of immediately going out and buying a full set of expensive filters, you can just head out when the light is already low, maybe say just after sunset. Naturally, lower light levels will let you slow your shutter speed down and allow you to experiment with longer exposures without spending anything at all. So you might try it and realise that it's not actually for you, which is absolutely fine, and you've saved yourself some money. Or you might absolutely love it, and then maybe that's the point where it makes sense to go out and actually spend some good money on a set of filters that you'll use for years to come. Now, when it does come to buying accessories, this is where I've definitely learned a few lessons the hard way. Photography gear, especially accessories, can get really, really expensive very, very quickly. And what I've found is that buying cheap often ends up costing more in the long run. Yeah, filters are probably a perfect example of this. Putting a cheap filter in front of your lens can really affect the image quality, and more often than not you end up replacing it anyway. The same goes with tripods. Cheap ones tend to be unstable and a bit frustrating to use, and they don't last that long either. A good solid tripod, on the other hand, will last you for many years and makes life so much easier when you're out shooting. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to discourage anyone from experimenting, because that's such a big part of photography, but I would encourage people to do it in a way that I guess is thoughtful. Test things out first, keep the costs low where you can, and once you know you enjoy something, then invest in gear and the time that's actually going to support you long term. Well, as you can see, I've got the camera set up on the tripod, and it's been one of those evenings. I've walked all the way down to the rock at the end there that I'm photographing now, and to see if I could make a composition down there. It's quite a walk actually, and absolutely wonderful, but the light wasn't quite in the right place, which is one of them when you're visiting a new location for the first time. You've got to kind of lower your expectations a little bit and just roll with it. So yeah, I've retreated back down the coastal path and just set up a shot here. There's some lovely light out that way. It looks absolutely incredible, but really I'm just looking across the ocean there. I really want to focus in on the coastline and hopefully get some nice light on these rocks at the end there. What will be though. It's absolutely beautiful evening, and it's just a pleasure to be out here after quite a wet and rough winter here on the west coast of Wales. Anyway, I'm going to take this image now. I'm currently at f8, ISO 125, an eighth of a second. Let's go and take this shot now, and we'll see what else unfolds over the next minute or two. So I don't really feel like I've got a successful image here this evening, but that really doesn't matter. I've been down to the end there. I've discovered that the rock actually might work really well when the sun is further towards the west in the summer. So I've took something away from today, and I think that leads me on to my final point. Photography is a long game. It's something to be savoured. It takes many, many years to hone your craft, and I think just by learning slowly and enjoying the process, you'll really, really enjoy photography going forward. I know I do. Even on a day like today, it's just been great to be out here in nature, enjoying the peace and tranquility. And if you don't come away with an image, you've had a good walk anyway, haven't you? Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this week's episode. The video up here is actually recommended to you personally by the YouTube algorithm. So if you do check it out, please let me know whether you enjoyed it or not. The link on the other side will take you to that 30-page free guidebook all about light in the landscape. So yeah, feel free to go and download that. I'm sure it'll be very, very helpful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you again next week.